so sick of London. I genuinely haven't left the house in 2 months without having a bad interaction. Is it just me? I feel like I'm cursed. I just stepped into Co-op to check out the Sunday deals, and I went to the cashier because I needed to pay with cash to get rid of my loose change. And there was a guy stood in front of me, and he had no shopping, he wasn't talking to the cashier, he was just stood there. And so he turned around and looked at me as well. I didn't say anything. Turned back around again, and then I said, oh, are you queuing? And then he turns back around and was like, yeah, and like gives me these evil eyes and gives me like a really long look. So I was like, okay, I was just checking. He turns back around and goes, where are you now? And I said, is there a problem? And then he goes, if you want there to be. And I was at this point so confused. I was actually shocked, didn't know what to say. I start shaking because this is what happens to me when I have an interaction like this. And I looked at the cashier being like, help me, please. He didn't say anything. He didn't even look confused, so I don't know what he thought was going on. But you would have thought like he would maybe say, oh, I'm just serving this man, you know, if he was serving him. So I was like, just didn't say anything, looked at him, and then he turns back around, and then a couple of seconds later turns back around to me and goes, okay, you go then, as if he's doing me a favour. And I'm like, are you even buying anything? I'm so fucking confused. So I went up and I paid, and I was like trying to give my shopping and trying to count up my coins, and I was like, you know, and then I just left. But I'm just, this genuinely, stuff like this happens to me every time I leave the house. The other day I went to go post an every parcel, and some woman decided to pick a fight with me because I asked her to step literally half a metre to the right so that I could get past and give my parcel to the cashier who had just asked me to do that. And she's like, why couldn't you go that way? And I was like, because there's somebody else stood there. So, you know, I'm so sorry I had to ask you to move half a metre. You're holding up the queue. Can you just move, you know? And she's just like, I don't understand it. Do I look mean? There's something about me saying, hey, I want to pick a fight with you today. And it's not like any particular demographic of person, men, women, you know, people who are older, people who are younger. Somebody always seems to have an issue, and I feel like I'm not doing anything that's like, you know, should warrant this kind of reaction from people. It makes me so upset as well. So I just had the loveliest day at Kew Gardens with my friend. You know, you have access to all these amazing things in London, but I feel like there's just so many people out there who just really want to ruin that for you. I don't know, I should probably focus on the positives more, but when it happens as often as it does to me, it's kind of, sometimes it just feels really hard not to let it get you down.
Unfortunately, this is the state of the UK high street. A lot of shops closing down here. You've got another one here. I mean, we're just walking a few steps where another shop is closing down.
Guys, I came into town to get some clothes, and who was I kidding? There literally is nowhere to shop in Galway.
For a little walk this morning, and I could not believe all the shops are gone, closed, empty. It's disgraceful. I couldn't believe it.
George's Portobello Fish Bar has finally closed its door after 63 years of fish and chip service.
One of Liverpool's oldest shopping streets is in jeopardy after iconic places like Smithy's closed down after more than 20 years. These iconic stores have been replaced by new food spots such as Fusion and Cell Salsa. Fears creeping that the balance may have shifted too heavily in favour of hospitality venues.
Unfortunately, this is the state of the UK high street. A lot of shops closing down here. You've got another one here. I mean, we're just walking a few steps where another shop is closing down, and there's another one there. There's a couple more up here, and this is St Albans in the United Kingdom. And that's because many of the Brit brands such as Brit, Accessorize, and all the other major high street shops, I mean, even this is 50% sale, is taking over the UK high street because they're owned by big private equity firms who able to pump a lot of money into the business and therefore fund debt, fund bad times. And because rents are increasing so much, many of these smaller brands just can't compete anymore. So unfortunately, you see a lot of shops, independent shops or smaller brands, closing on UK high streets, and they're simply replaced by big brands owned by private equity firms. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, follow for more.
This person actually felt a bit worried about the economy now. Seeing so many retail shops closing is starting to hit home.
Alright, not gonna lie, I am mildly concerned about the economy now. Literally within the space of the last week or so, we've had 2 wholesalers that we occasionally buy from go under. And on top of this, data from last year showing how many retail shops closed. 28% more closures than in 2023. 84% of all closures were independent retailers and smaller businesses. Oh, then it's followed up with that. Britain has recorded its highest number of company closures for 2 decades, with the final quarter of 2024. I dare say you can read it. How many fucking closed? I just don't see it getting any better, man. Like, I won't lie, stuff is quite rough for us at the moment, right? But then when you see things like I, you kind of go, I'm not surprised, because everyone seems to be struggling. Not that I know what the answer is, because there's obviously money out there, it's just a few people that seem to get it. And when you squeeze everyone, it means they can't really afford to shop with smaller businesses. Because let's be honest, smaller businesses are usually a little bit more expensive. They have to be. So then you end up buying as cheap as you possibly can, which usually means big businesses or abroad. But none of the money seems to circulate like it would before. Oh, so yeah, here we go. Just a bit concerned about the economy. Anyone shocked?
Wow. So I didn't realise. I've just come down my local town centre. Closed. Closed. Next one. Closed. Next shop. Closed. Used to be Bun Marsh. Guess what? Closed. Everywhere's just shut. It's just ridiculous. There's like hardly anything left. Another one with the shutters down. Used to be Mapley Sports. I don't know. What's the world coming to? Shocking.
This guy came into town looking to buy clothes and realised nearly every shop was gone.
Guys, I came into town to get some clothes, and who was I kidding? There literally is nowhere to shop in Galway for lads. Like, there's literally nowhere. Like, Brown Thomas is the only place, Tommy Hilfiger maybe. But like, in the past 10 years, the amount of shops that have just gone. It's like Debenhams, Top Man is gone. River Island is on the way out. There's so many shops closing, like Body Shop. Not that I use the Body Shop, but I don't understand it. Like, why can't they just last? Like, it's not like Galway City isn't busy and it doesn't have the clientele there. Like, there's so many people who would love clothes shops here. I don't understand it. We need a big Zara. That's what we need. I'm going to start a petition for a big Zara. It's actually such a joke.
God, all the shops are closed. Pandora, M&S. There's literally nowhere to shop in Birmingham anymore. I mean, look at House of Fraser. The sign's falling off. I mean, God knows what's occupied in that building, but it still isn't House of Fraser. And EE shops, I didn't know that. Mother Care used to be here, as well as New Look, and that's gone. Everything's gone. It's just empty. Empty.
Hi there guys, this is Northfield and Southwest Birmingham. When we moved up here nearly over 15 years ago, it used to be such a vibrant town. There used to be shops, restaurants, independent places and everything. It was so fabulous. Even independent butchers, tomato sausages, who remembers them? They were amazing. And I went for a little walk this morning and I could not believe all the shops are gone, closed, empty. It's disgraceful. I couldn't believe it. This is part one.
On earth, we're losing another one of the high street staple shops. I don't really shop in New Look, but still, they're shutting down. What on earth is going on? This is a list of the 26 that are closing down.
Shops on Bold Street are really feeling the squeeze, with rising rent and bills making it tough to stay open.
Shops on Bold Street are struggling, with a number of long-standing stores having to close their doors in recent months. This includes shops such as fancy dress shop Smithies that closed at the end of last year after being open for 20 years. It also includes Alice Brigham's Fab Four store that closed early this month after operating for the last 6 years. The store stated the reason for closure was due to the recent shift to hospitality on the street, with them saying on social media that they are surrounded by bars and cafes and that there are no more shops near them. Other issues affecting shops on the street include rising bills and rent, with shop workers in the remaining stores saying that independent and local shops will struggle the most.
It's definitely, with like rent prices increasing, it's definitely the independents that are going to find it hard to, you know, like energy prices and, you know, doing all that, and like these I mean, speaking on behalf of us, we've just had like a electrician come in and be like, you're going to need all new sockets, because these are such old buildings. It's a lot of upkeep to like keep them modern and like under all these regulations. And I think a chain can just splash the cash like Franco Manca, you know what I mean? They can come in and go, yeah, we'll just strip all of that out.
Once you notice one ghost pub, you'll see them everywhere. Sometimes they'll have an old sign, but the best way to tell if a building used to be a pub is by looking around the outside. On the pavement, there'll be a way to access the old cellar, and that's your sure sign that you're looking at a ghost pub.
Even charity shops are closing now. When not even they can survive, it really shows how brutal the cost of living crisis has become.
I've just read on the Mail Online that a UK charity shop, which is actually Scope, is going to be closing half of its stores in the UK within the next year. So by March 2026, half of Scope's going to be gone. And in actual fact, 39 of the 138 shops they have at the moment are going to be closed in the next few days. Is anybody in the reseller community or the thrifting community surprised by this? I mean, charity shops charge so much money for donated goods, and I find Scope especially charge a lot. I mean, just stack them high, sell them cheap. Your stuff is donated, it is given to you. I've seen a few charity shops pivot to this model of lower cost, which is makes so much more sense. The CEO has blamed low footfall and also accused online shopping as being one of the reasons this has happened. But just sell it cheaper. Surely, if it makes sense to me, it makes sense to people that own a business. I don't know, but Scope's going.
Fellow Brummies, the Priory Square is now closed indefinitely, according to the newspaper. I mean, this has been around for absolutely decades. There used to be a shop in there, like a market shop called Oasis. They used to buy my Levi jeans from. I think it was like that back in the day. It was like 2 jeans for £70. That used to be a bargain. And them jeans would last forever. The most durable jeans I ever had, 501s. Our mum, when I was a kid, just dragged me through that store. And that's where she used to get my clothes, like my jeans and all that from, the little stores that the Asian guys were in. And back many moons ago, the building that's next to that Priory Square used to be an Argos. I think prior to that, it was a Tesco's way back when, way before my time. Now it's a B&M. But the whole area is pretty dangerous now. It's just full of kids hanging around, carrying knives, disturbing the public. Yeah, it's not a nice part of town, to be honest. And the surrounding area has all been done up now. So like they got modern new buildings, and then you got this eyesore of an area. So no doubt it'll be torn down, and then they'll build something new there. About time, to be honest. But happy memories, man. Happy memories. It's really weird seeing Birmingham change so dramatically. Some parts I didn't even recognise anymore. But it's all for the greater good. All for the greater good. Out with the old and in with the new, I guess.
George's Portobello Fish Bar has finally closed its door after 63 years of fish and chip service. So let's get some. So we're in the queue for George's to get the last fish and chips we're going to get from George's. It's like a legend in Notting Hill for fish and chips. So we're just in the queue, look. And this lovely lady has just lent us her umbrella so we can queue in. Yeah, look, we're going to get fish and chips, aren't we, darling? Okay, we're getting closer. Everybody in Notting Hill and West London knows about George's Portobello Fish Bar. For 63 years, they have been pumping up fish and chips, ribs, pies, chicken to famous locals and the local community. And we are so gutted to see the end of an era. George unfortunately passed away recently, and they have been selling the building for quite a while. But finally, the time has come to say goodbye to the ribs, and it's one of the only food establishments that was affordable, and they still only ever took cash. You couldn't use your card in there, yet people were queuing hours, and I finally secured the bag, and look at this gorgeous food. I'm so gonna miss it. Altogether, this costs £30 with the drinks, the ribs, the sides. Thank you so much, George's Fish Bar, George's Fish and Chips down Portobello Road, for all the beautiful food you provided for us for all the decades of years. I'm off to have my lunch, and yeah, you guys put to the recommendations in the comments of other fish and chip shops around London that you think is worthy of legend status, just like George's. All the best, guys. All the best to the George's team.
I'm down here at what was the famous Chaffee's Bakery in Chapel Hill. I'm heartbroken to hear that the bakery is closed owing to the rising cost of running a small business. Thank you to Rob and Susanna for everything that you've done over the last 6 years to provide this wonderful asset to our community. Under this Greens Labor government, we've seen a record number of businesses closing, and the cost of electricity for small businesses has gone up by up to 52%. A coalition government will be unashamedly pro-small business and will implement reforms to help the small business sector grow, including returning to the simple definition of a casual worker, cutting red and green tape, and reducing the tax burden on business expenditure.
Okay, if you have moved out of the UK and moved to another country, I need to know where you moved, why, and how you're finding it.
Now, why is everyone leaving the UK? I've personally left, so I can tell you my 3 reasons. But I was watching a video that triggered this, me creating this.
I never thought I would be saying this right now. I'm moving out of London and back to the US. If
you're under the age of 36 and from the UK, here's 3 other countries you could move to.
I have just booked a one-way ticket out of the UK. I have finally hit my breaking point. I'm done with the UK, I'm done with it. I've lived here for 24 years. That's 24 years too many. So I'm off to Southeast Asia. For how long? I do not know. Hence why I've booked a one-way ticket. I've already got the backpack. Look how big this fucking backpack is, you lot. It's bigger than me. It's literally bigger than my upper half. Luckily though, watch this. Yeah, I'm smart. I think ahead. It's on wheels, mate. It's on wheels. I'm actually going. I've made the decision. The UK is becoming a bit too much for me now. Also, I'm 24, mate. Some people would call that middle age. So, do you know what? Michael Jackson died 16 years ago. I feel like it was yesterday that man died. So, if another 16 years is going to go that quickly, I need to explore the world. So, we're going next month to Thailand. I think we're starting in Phuket. So, yeah, I'm excited. You're excited. Let's get some sick content. And let's travel to Southeast Asia and away from this shithole. Also, if anyone's got any like travel hacks or tips and tricks, leave it in the comments. Any of that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
This 19-year-old's packing up and leaving the UK for Thailand, and he's not looking back. With lower living costs and a fresh start ahead, his move says a lot about how tough life's gotten for young people here.
I'm 19, I've booked a one-way flight to Thailand that leaves in 24 hours. I've quit my job and I'm leaving all my friends and family behind, and I'm finally leaving the UK. I'm looking forward to just being free of expectation and not being held to what I'd done 7 years ago back in secondary school, and everyone just in the UK is just so toxic. In the UK, when you grow up and mature and you do better and you start seeing success, people will just hate on you and they'll hold you accountable for things you've done like 7 years ago in secondary school. That's why I'm taking a risk and leaving everything behind and going to the other side of the world in Southeast Asia to start this new life. I mean, it's raining in July in England and you're paying £2 for a bottle of Coke. So take that risk, leave everything behind and just go. Follow me to see my journey as a 19-year-old in Thailand.
Yo guys, what's going on? I am in Manchester Airport right now. We are doing a one-way trip to Malaysia. And to be honest, I'm tired of the UK. It's really shit out here. Try something new. We've got our bags packed. We've got my suitcase or cabin luggage right down there. We're going to see where it takes us. But we've got an online business, which is a decentralized learning and networking platform. We're going to see how that rolls out there. And if it's successful, it's successful. I can always come back. But anyways, guys, I'll see you guys out there.
Now, why is everyone leaving the UK? I've personally left, so I can tell you my 3 reasons. But I was watching a video that triggered this, me creating this. And the CEO of Monzo said, Britain is attached to a rich city with an anti-entrepreneurial mindset. And it made me think. So one of the main reasons why I left is because Britain has like a depressing culture. We take a lot of shit and don't do anything about it. For example, if you have a conversation with someone and ask how their life is, they'll basically tell you that they're not enjoying it, but they won't do anything about it. Oh, Britain's like this, but I don't know, we can't do anything about it. Oh, my job's rubbish, but I can't do anything about it. I'll just stay here. And that is simply not the case. You need to do better for yourself, and you can actually make improvements. You can leave. If I had any piece of advice to any 20-year-old or someone that can take risks in their life, it would be to go and explore a different city, go and see what else in the world has to offer you. And you don't have to leave for good. You can go back to England. I still enjoy going back to England, but I just could not see myself living there. Also, I'd like to point out that the quality of life in England is not that great. Even if you're in a middle-class position, the average rental price in London is £2,500. So imagine, utilities on top. I know gas is up 94% than it was 4 years ago. That's a huge increase. My personal bills in Liverpool, I was living up north, so it was cheaper. My utilities will come into £400 per month, and my car insurance was £300 per month. It keeps you locked in that cycle. So if you've got a skill set, if you can work from your laptop or work from home, why are you not leaving and living a better life? I'd rather be making 30k a year living here in Lithuania than making 100k living in the UK. Purely because life is just an endless cycle. You wake up, maybe go to the gym, you go to work, and you repeat. I finally started making videos. I finally started putting myself out there and making content, and that was something that I never would have done in the UK, because you're surrounded by people that are ready to drag you down, and you never realise how much your environment changes you until you actually leave.
Everyone is leaving the UK. I will next year as well, and you should consider it too. Here's why. Number one, it's a poor country. Most people have this misconception that the UK is a rich country, when in reality, it's quite poor. The average income is like 30 grand a year. And if you're in the top 1%, you're only making 200 grand a year. Which, to put into perspective, to be in the top 1% in the US, you have to be making somewhere like $700,000 a year, which is like still £600,000 a year. The second reason, the most overriding reason, is the deprecating nature of society in the UK. Basically, everyone bringing each other down rather than inspiring each other and saying that you can accomplish your dreams and goals and whatever you want to do. I was a victim of the same thing. I was trying to be different from like the age of 14, trying to run businesses and shit. And most people looked down on me for it until I started making actual money off of it. Now they come to me and ask me about it. But why isn't that the attitude in the beginning? So this is why most people leave.
The toxic work-life balance was another major reason why people are out the door. This guy is not alone. More people are realizing life shouldn't just be about surviving the 9-to-5 grind.
Whew. So why I left the UK? Where do I start? Reason number one, the UK will suck the living daylights out of you. I'm saying Glock 3000, double spin, twister, it will do all of that to you, bro. It's the type of place that, for me, I feel like I got out of uni thinking, okay, yeah, I've got my degree now, I'm going to be flying high. But I don't want to go corporate. So if I don't want to go corporate, what else is there for me to do? I want to do music, I want to do content, but that's not sustainable because I'm not there yet. So what do? I go get a job. And I feel like the moment I got myself like into the 9-to-5 when I was working that specific 9-to-5, it was Amazon. Yes, Amazon. You know how it is. You're working 10 hours a day, 8 to 6:30 a.m. Bro, by the time you even find sleep, in the day, you're already starting the next shift. So imagine running that race for about a year and some change. You're going to fall into depression, bro. Like, you can't see yourself progressing because the cost of living is getting higher and you're kind of dependent on the job. So then it's just like, bro, what am I doing here? For me, I just felt like I needed a change of scenery, a change of pace, and thank God because I'm here now. You know what I'm saying? In Miami. Follow me for more.
There's a lot of people slagging the UK off at the minute, and rightly so, to be honest. There's a lot of things fucking wrong with it. There's a lot of reasons to get out. There's a lot of reasons to want to live somewhere else, but most people are stuck. They've got a family or a mortgage or a job that they can't quit because everything else will fall apart, car on finance, everything's tied in. But if you are single and you can get remote work, you can earn $1,000, $2,000 a month, then you can go and live pretty much anywhere else in the fucking world and live as the top sort of 5% would in that country in relative luxury, to be honest with you. I mean, at the minute I'm earning about £1,500 UK and I'm living in Thailand and I'm spending pretty much all of that each month. I've got a fucking brand new scooter, a nice apartment with a gym, a sauna and a pool, and I do what I want and I eat out every day.
This lady's moving back to the US after living in London, and she's had enough.
I never thought I would be saying this right now. I'm moving out of London and back to the US. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I moved to London 3 years ago, right before COVID, and that I love London and London feels like my home now. So I'm sure it comes as quite a surprise that I'm going to be moving back to the US. And so I want to give you a good response. Why am I doing this? Why am I moving back to the US after I've said how much I love London, how much I love working here?
I have officially quit my full-time career job to leave the UK. I'm 24 and I've wanted to do this for a very long time because I just feel like the UK for me at the moment hasn't got much to offer in terms of career progression, housing. The rent is ridiculous. I'm living at parents' house at 24 years old because I had to move back home after renting for a bit because it was just extortionate and I could not put any money aside, and I was working 9 to 5 basically. I work shifts, but I was working like 40-hour weeks for no benefits. I was getting nothing out of this, and I have a long-term relationship as well, and both of us combined was still not enough to rent and just be able to go on holiday and stuff, which is ultimately what you want. You want to be able to enjoy life if you're actually working so much. And I'm not saying I didn't enjoy life, but I couldn't afford the things that I actually wanted to do. So I moved home and I decided that I'm going to save my money for a few months, which is a privilege in itself because I know a lot of people can't afford, don't have that opportunity to move home. But it comes with its own challenges, obviously. Saved my money for a few months and I have decided that I'm actually leaving the UK in June, which is a massive, massive step. And it's very, very scary because I've lived here for so long now, but it's actually time. And I feel like so many people are doing this. It's ridiculous how the UK complain about immigration, meanwhile their younger generations are actually leaving. Yeah. So if you're debating leaving the UK, whether that's for travelling, to move somewhere else, yeah, the grass isn't greener on the other side all the time, but it's time. This is your sign.
My name's Becky, and for those of you that haven't been following my account, me and my family are looking to move out of the UK next year. And you know, I've been talking to a lot of people recently, and it isn't necessarily all to do with money as to why people want to migrate out of the UK. It's actually to do with living a better lifestyle. You know, the UK is so fast paced. All everyone cares about is money in the bank account. Obviously they need that because of the cost of living is absolutely extortionate and it's only going to get worse. But actually having a better quality of life. Now this could mean sunshine, you know, it could mean just going for walks on the beach every day, or just actually living somewhere where you can spend quality time with your family rather than working 10-hour days. And this is a major reason as to why me and my family are looking to move out of the UK and to Cyprus. Okay, if you have moved out of the UK and moved to another country, I need to know where you moved, why, and how you're finding it. I'm going to put the list on screen of the things that I feel are important to me in making a decision like this. So tell me, how are you finding it, how are you getting on, or if you're planning to move, where are you planning to move to, and why did you choose that destination? I would just do a quick video with an explanation and a couple of reasons why we're looking to move. So first of all, my husband had a serious accident a few years ago where he crushed his spinal cord. So he suffers severely from nerve damage and hypersensitive skin. So the winter and the cold just has such a negative effect on his body, and he really struggles. So we're looking to give him a better quality of life. And that's what the sunshine will do for him, and hopefully kind of release some of the pain and pressures that he feels in his body in the winter. The second reason is the quality of life. So, you know, the UK is just constantly fast paced. We know kind of the cost of living is so high now. You know, we used to be have a bit of disposable income. Now we're constantly scraping every penny every month. And moving abroad is just going to do this for us. It's going to give us a bit more financial freedom. The quality of life is going to be better in the sunshine. We're going to be able to spend more time as a family, you know, spending time outside, doing things that we love rather than stuck at home all the time because the weather's too bad. And yeah, just literally can't wait. And one of the other things is the schooling. So, you know, my daughter goes to an amazing school right now. She's 9. But the schooling and education where we're looking to move is second to none. And she is going to thrive in this environment. Now, I think the UK schooling is slightly out of date. It's very classroom schooling. And yeah, so these are just a couple of the reasons why. But if you're following the same journey, please like and follow. And I'll follow you back because I'd love to see some other people's views on this.
If you're thinking
under the age of 36 and from the UK, here's 3 other countries you could move to. Part 3. Number 1, Dubai. The obvious reasons to move there are because they pay better and you don't pay any tax. For example, the job that I do at entry level in the UK would pay all in all about 35k. In Dubai, it would pay all in all about 55 to 60 with no tax. With Dubai being very developed, there are a lot of different employment opportunities there too. And with the majority of people living there being expats, it will be easier to make friends. Despite what people think, it isn't a really expensive place to live. There's a whole range of lifestyle costs depending on what you go for. One really important thing to bear in mind with Dubai, though, is that it is still a religious and conservative society, although it is more progressive than most of the Emirati states. So if you're used to the freedoms that you have here in the West, bear in mind that you're not going to have the same level there. I would say that Dubai is more the opportunity for people that want to move for financial reasons rather than culture. And obviously it is in the middle of the Arabian desert, so it will get very hot, maybe too hot. A wobba bob bob. Number 2, Portugal. Portugal has a nicer climate, beautiful cities, a more relaxed lifestyle, good food, and it's actually not that far from the UK. We operate on the same time zone, so it's quite easy to work in a remote UK job and be based in Portugal. It's become increasingly popular for digital nomads to move there over the last few years thanks to their golden visa scheme. However, do keep a close eye on this because the government have announced that they're probably going to retract this, and there is a bit of a backlash against digital nomads there. It's still a good option if you want to live there short term, but long term it might not be the most sustainable. That said, there are plenty of other countries that are going to be offering similar visas, such as Turkey, Hong Kong and Singapore. Number 3, South Korea. South Korea is a major economy with a really rich history, beautiful countryside and well located to travel the rest of Asia. The main work option that you're going to get here is TEFL, so teaching English as a foreign language. It's probably the best country in the world to do this. Reason being that when you teach out there, you'll get paid a salary of about 25k, but your cost of living will be about 40% cheaper than here. And on top of that, it's very common for the schools and the companies that you go out there with to reimburse your flights and cover your accommodation. However, I will stress this, the South Koreans are notorious for being intolerant of foreigners, and they also have terrible attitudes towards mental health, which for obvious reasons is why I personally wouldn't move there. However, if you are more mentally stable, then it's not a bad option. There is also an enormous community of people teaching English out there who you'd be able to socialise with. Just bear in mind that you might not be treated so well by the locals. Like I said in the previous videos, nothing is permanent. You could live in one place for a few years and somewhere else for another. Things are going to be affected by your visa, by what you want, whether you want to come back to your family and friends. It's entirely down to you. If you're interested in a country, do your own research. Find out if they're going to tolerate you. Find out if you can afford it. Find out if you're culturally aligned. And if it works, go for it.
With so many Brits leaving for a better life, what does the future hold for the UK? Are you thinking of leaving too? Let us know in the comments. If you found this video eye-opening, please like, subscribe and share your thoughts below. We'd love to hear from you.